Hey there, freedom seekers! Before we dive into today's topic, I want you to know that every second of this video is packed with life-changing wisdom. So, stick around. You won't want to miss a thing. Trust me, by the end, you'll have a whole new perspective on two simple letters, N-O. This journey we're about to embark on, it's not just about learning to say no, it's about reclaiming your life, your time, and your personal freedom. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's dive in. We live in a world that's constantly demanding our attention, our time, and our energy. It's a never-ending barrage of requests, invitations, and expectations. Social media notifications ping us incessantly. Work emails flood our inbox at all hours. Friends and family have endless needs and wants. It's exhausting, isn't it? But what if I told you that the key to personal freedom, to living life on your own terms, lies in a simple word that many of us struggle to use? That word is no. Now, I know what you're thinking. Saying no doesn't sound very positive or productive. Maybe you're picturing yourself as that person who always turns down invitations, who never helps out, who's seen as selfish or unfriendly. But hear me out. This isn't about being negative or shutting yourself off from the world. It's about reclaiming your life and aligning your actions with your true values and goals. To help us understand this better, we're going to look at this concept through the lens of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Now, before you start thinking, oh great, a philosophy lesson, let me assure you, this isn't about dusty old ideas. Stoicism is a practical, no-nonsense approach to life that can transform the way you think about your choices, your time, and your freedom. Let's start with a quote from the Roman philosopher Seneca. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that for a moment. How often do we say yes to things simply because we're afraid of disappointing others or missing out? We imagine negative consequences that often never materialize. Let me give you a personal example. A few years ago, I was drowning in commitments. I was saying yes to every project, every social invitation, every request for help. I thought I was being productive, being a good friend, a team player, but in reality, I was stressed, overwhelmed, and losing sight of my own goals. My day would start with a flurry of emails, each one a new request, a new obligation. I'd say yes to early morning meetings, lunch catch-ups, after-work events. My weekends were packed with social engagements and favors for friends. On paper, I looked like I had it all: a busy social life, a thriving career, a reputation for being reliable. But inside, I was exhausted, unfulfilled, and honestly, a little resentful. Does this sound familiar to any of you? Maybe you're in this situation right now, feeling like you're living everyone else's life but your own. It was during this time that I stumbled upon the teachings of Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher. He said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized I was constantly chasing after new commitments, new responsibilities, without appreciating the time and freedom I already had. I was grieving for the things I thought I should be doing, instead of rejoicing in the things that truly mattered to me. So I started saying no. At first, it was terrifying. I felt guilty, selfish even. But as I practiced, something amazing happened. My calendar started to clear up. I had more time for the projects I was passionate about. I was less stressed, more focused, and ironically, more productive than ever before. But here's where it gets really interesting. The people in my life, the ones I was so afraid of disappointing, they respected me more. They saw that when I did say yes, I was fully committed and present. The quality of my work improved, my relationships deepened, and I finally felt like I was living my own life, not someone else's idea of what my life should be. Now, I'm not suggesting you start saying no to everything. That's not what this is about. It's about being intentional with your yes. It's about understanding that your time and energy are precious resources, and you have the right, no, the responsibility, to allocate them wisely. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of saying no. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. We can choose where we direct our energy. Think of it like this. Every time you're faced with a request or an opportunity, imagine placing it on one side of a scale. On the other side, place your personal goals, your values, your well-being. Which side weighs more? Now let's dig deeper into why saying no is so powerful and why it's at the heart of personal freedom. 1. Reclaiming your time. Time is our most precious resource. It's the one thing we can never get back. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote an entire essay on this topic, titled On the Shortness of Life. In it, he says, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about that. How much of your time do you actually control? How much of it is spent on activities that truly matter to you? When you say yes to everything, you're essentially handing over control of your time to others. You're allowing external demands to dictate how you spend your days. But when you say no, you're reclaiming that time. You're saying, "This is my life, and I choose how to spend it." It's an incredibly empowering act. 2. Aligning with your values. The Stoics placed great emphasis on living in accordance with one's values. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." When you're clear about your values and priorities, saying no becomes easier. It's not about being selfish, it's about being true to yourself. If family is a top priority for you, saying no to that late-night work meeting becomes not just acceptable, but necessary. 3. Reducing stress and increasing well-being. Chronic stress is a modern epidemic, and a lot of it comes from overcommitment. When we say yes to everything, we're constantly in a state of anxiety, always rushing from one obligation to the next. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." By saying no to non-essential commitments, you're reducing the external pressures in your life. You're creating space for relaxation, for creativity, for the things that truly bring you joy. 4. Improving the quality of your yes. When you say yes less often, the quality of your yes improves dramatically. Think about it. When you're overcommitted, how present are you in each activity? How much energy and enthusiasm can you bring? But when you're selective about your commitments, you can throw yourself fully into each one. You become more present, more engaged, more effective. This not only benefits you, but also the people and projects you choose to commit to. 5. Strengthening relationships. This might seem counterintuitive, but saying no can actually strengthen your relationships. When you always say yes, you risk becoming resentful. You might find yourself going through the motions, not truly present or engaged. But when you're honest about your limits and priorities, you create the opportunity for more authentic connections. The Stoic philosopher Heracles spoke about expanding circles of concern with the self at the center. By taking care of yourself first, you're better equipped to care for others. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but how do I actually start saying no without feeling like a jerk? Great question. Let's break it down into actionable steps. 1. Know your priorities. Take some time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What are your goals? What brings you joy and fulfillment? The Stoics practiced regular self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius wrote his Meditations as a personal journal, constantly examining his thoughts and actions. Try this. Set aside 30 minutes this week. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Ask yourself, what are the 5 most important things in my life right now? Write these down and keep them somewhere visible. 2. Practice the pause. When you're asked to commit to something, don't respond immediately. Give yourself time to consider whether it aligns with your priorities. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Try this. The next time someone asks you for a commitment, say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This gives you time to reflect and make a conscious decision. 3. Be honest and direct. When you do say no, be clear and respectful. You don't need to make up excuses. A simple, "I'm sorry, but I can't commit to that right now," is often enough. The Stoics valued honesty highly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Try this. Practice saying no in front of a mirror. It might feel silly, but it helps build confidence. Try different phrases until you find one that feels natural to you. 4. Offer alternatives if possible. If you can't do what's being asked, but you still want to help, suggest other ways you might be able to contribute. This shows that you care and are willing to support in ways that work for you. The Stoics believed in contributing to society, but in a way that aligns with one's own nature and abilities. Try this. Keep a list of resources or people you can refer others to when you can't help directly. This allows you to provide value even when saying no. 5. Remember, it's okay to say no to good things. Sometimes we need to say no to good opportunities to make room for great ones. Seneca said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Focus is key to achieving meaningful goals. Try this. Before saying yes to something, ask yourself, if this was happening tomorrow, would I still want to do it? This helps cut through the initial excitement and assess the commitment more objectively. 6. Start small and build. Like any skill, saying no takes practice. Start with smaller, less consequential situations and work your way up. The Stoics believed in daily practice of virtue. Epictetus said, "Practice yourself, for heaven's sake, in little things, and thence proceed to greater." Try this. Set a goal to say no to one small thing each day for a week. It could be as simple as declining an extra slice of cake or saying no to an additional task at work when you're already at capacity. 7. Reframe your thinking. Instead of thinking of saying no as a negative act, reframe it as saying yes to your priorities. Every no to something that doesn't align with your goals is a yes to what truly matters to you. Try this. Each time you say no to something, consciously think about what you're saying yes to instead. This positive reinforcement can help overcome the guilt often associated with saying no. Epictetus said, "He who is not content with what he has would not be content with what he would like to have." This reminds us that saying no isn't about constantly seeking more, but about finding contentment and freedom in consciously choosing what we already have. As you start implementing these strategies, remember that it's a process. You might feel uncomfortable at first, and that's okay. The Stoics believed in practicing virtue, not just thinking about it. So start small. Say no to something minor and see how it feels. Gradually work your way up to bigger commitments. And here's a powerful secret. The more you say no to things that don't serve you, the more empowered you'll feel to say yes to the things that do. You'll find yourself with more energy, more focus, and a greater sense of control over your life. Imagine waking up each day knowing that your time is truly yours. That every commitment you have is one you've consciously chosen, one that aligns with your values and moves you closer to your goals. That's the power of no. That's true personal freedom. But remember, this isn't about isolation or selfishness. The Stoics believed strongly in duty and social responsibility. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." The goal is to contribute meaningfully, not to withdraw completely. By saying no to the things that don't matter, you create space to say a wholehearted yes to the things that do. You become more present for your loved ones, more effective in your work, and more at peace with yourself. Let's talk about some real-life scenarios where saying no can make a big difference. 1. At work. Imagine your boss comes to you with a new project. It sounds interesting, but you're already at capacity. In the past, you might have said yes out of fear or a desire to please, but now you take a pause. You consider your current workload and your priorities. You might say something like, "I appreciate you thinking of me for this project. It sounds interesting. However, I'm currently focused on current project. which is due next week. Taking on this new project would impact my ability to deliver quality work on time. Could we discuss this again after I've completed my current assignment? This response does several things. It shows appreciation for the opportunity. It demonstrates that you've thought about the request. It explains why saying yes would be problematic. It offers an alternative, discussing it later. By saying no in this situation, you're saying yes to maintaining the quality of your work, managing your stress levels, and being honest about your capacity. 2. In personal relationships. Let's say a friend asks you to help them move on a weekend when you had planned some much-needed downtime. In the past, you might have agreed out of a sense of obligation, even though it would leave you exhausted for the coming week. Now you might respond, "I really wish I could help you move this weekend. Unfortunately, I've already committed that time to rest and recharge, which I really need right now. Is there another way I could support you? Maybe I could help you pack one evening this week instead?" This response expresses genuine care for the friend, explains your current needs, offers an alternative way to help. By saying no here, you're saying yes to self-care, which ultimately makes you a better friend in the long run. 3. With family. Family obligations can be particularly challenging to navigate. Let's say your parents expect you to come home for every holiday, but traveling so frequently is taking a toll on you. You might say, "Mom, Dad, I love coming home and spending time with you. However, I've realized that traveling for every holiday is leaving me exhausted and impacting my work. I'd like to propose that I come home for specific holidays and we plan a longer quality visit during specific time. This way, when I'm home, I can be fully present and enjoy our time together without stress." This approach affirms your love and desire to spend time with family, explains the impact of the current arrangement, offers a thoughtful alternative that benefits everyone. By saying no to constant travel, you're saying yes to quality time with family and maintaining your own well-being. These examples show that saying no isn't about rejection or avoidance. It's about making conscious choices that align with your values and priorities. It's about creating boundaries that allow you to be your best self in all areas of your life. Now let's address some common concerns and objections people have when it comes to saying no. 1. But won't people think I'm selfish? This is a common fear. But remember what Epictetus said. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, don't let others' opinions prevent you from doing what's right for you. In reality, when you start setting boundaries, most people will respect you more. They'll see that when you do commit to something, you're fully present and engaged. Quality over quantity in your commitments leads to stronger, more authentic relationships. 2. I'm afraid I'll miss out on opportunities. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, is real. But consider this quote from Seneca. "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man. Replace death with missing out, and the wisdom still holds." When you say no to things that don't align with your goals, you're creating space for truly meaningful opportunities. You're not missing out. You're curating your life experiences. 3. I don't want to let people down. This is a noble sentiment. But as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. You can't control how others feel, but you can control your actions and responses. By being honest about your capacity and limitations, you're actually being more respectful to others. You're preventing situations where you might overcommit and then underdeliver. 4. But I'm capable of doing it all. Many of us, especially high achievers, fall into this trap. We think that because we can do something, we should. But Epictetus offers this wisdom: know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's the best use of your time and energy. Saying no isn't about capability, it's about intentionality. Now let's talk about the long-term benefits of mastering the art of saying no. 1. Increased focus and productivity. When you say no to non-essential commitments, you create space to focus deeply on what truly matters. This leads to higher quality work and greater achievements in your chosen areas of focus. 2. Improved mental health. Chronic stress often comes from overcommitment. By saying no to things that don't align with your priorities, you reduce stress and anxiety, leading to better overall mental health. 3. Better relationships. When you're not spread thin, you can be more present in your relationships. You'll have the energy and time to nurture the connections that truly matter to you. 4. Personal growth. Saying no requires self-awareness and courage. As you practice it, you'll develop a stronger sense of self and greater confidence in your decisions. 5. More time for self-care. With fewer commitments cluttering your schedule, you'll have more time for activities that recharge you, whether that's exercise, meditation, reading, or simply relaxing. 6. Alignment with your values. Every no to something that doesn't serve you is a yes to your core values. Over time, this leads to a life that feels more authentic and fulfilling. 7. Increased respect from others. As counterintuitive as it might seem, people often respect those who can set clear boundaries. Your yes becomes more valuable when it's not given out freely. Now, I want to address something important. Saying no doesn't mean becoming a hermit or never helping others. The Stoics believed strongly in duty and social responsibility. Marcus Aurelius said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." The key is balance. By saying no to things that don't align with your values and goals, you create space to say a wholehearted yes to the things that do. You become more present for your loved ones, more effective in your work, and more at peace with yourself. Remember, every no is really a yes to something else, a yes to your goals, your well-being, your freedom. So, here's my challenge to you. This week, practice saying no to at least one thing that doesn't align with your priorities. It might be uncomfortable, but pay attention to how it feels afterward. Notice the sense of relief, the feeling of reclaiming a piece of your time and energy. Start small if you need to. Say no to that extra slice of cake, to checking your work email after hours, to a social engagement you're dreading. Then, gradually work your way up to bigger commitments. Keep a journal of your experiences. Write down what you said no to, how it felt in the moment, and what positive outcomes you noticed afterward. This reflection can be a powerful motivator as you continue to practice. And remember, it's a journey. You won't master this overnight, and there will be times when you slip back into old patterns. That's okay. The Stoics believed in continual self-improvement. As Epictetus said, "Practice yourself for heaven's sake, in little things, and thence proceed to greater." Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought from Seneca. He said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." By mastering the art of saying no, you're reclaiming that wasted time. You're choosing to live deliberately, on your own terms. Imagine a life where every commitment you make is intentional, where your time and energy are invested in the things that truly matter to you. That's the power of no. That's true personal freedom. So, what will you say no to today? And more importantly, what will that allow you to say yes to? If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And remember, your time is precious. Spend it wisely. In the comments, let me know one thing you're going to say no to this week. Let's support each other on this journey to personal freedom. Until next time, keep seeking that freedom. Remember, every no is a step towards a more authentic, fulfilling life. Peace out.